Hey guys, what's up? It's iPhone here, and today we're going to be talking about what I think will be the next best free-to-play first-person shooter, Project A. I did a poll on the community tab of my YouTube channel a few days ago and realized that not very many of you guys even know what Project A is. Project A is a character-based first-person shooter being developed and published by Riot Games, the developers who are known for their very popular MOBA, League of Legends. The name Project A is only the code name for the game. It was announced in the form of a YouTube video back in October 2019. There are rumors going around at the moment speculating that Project A will be officially named Valorant. This rumor originated from a Twitter account that I'll link in the description below called @PlayValorant. The name Valorant was actually trademarked in a few countries by Riot Games recently, so it's very likely that this will indeed be the official name of the game. On top of that, we've recently started to see a tiny bit of activity come off the Play Valorant account on Twitter, so take that as you will. Monday the 2nd of March 2020, which is tomorrow, Riot Games will officially be revealing the name of the game to the public by releasing multiple trailers while also lifting embargoes from the creators who got to play the game. We know this because a few creators who speak different languages put up tweets stating that their embargoes lift on March the 2nd, and that's when we can expect more info. What we already know is that Project A, or Valorant, is going to be a 5v5 tactical shooter that closely resembles CSGO with diluted abilities and character selection thrown into the mix too. The only game mode that we know of so far is an MR12 search and destroy game mode with 2 bomb sites. MR12 basically means that the match point will occur when a team has 12 rounds won under their belt. The abilities that the characters have should be seen more as tactical utility rather than things that you spam to get the best off your enemy. This is because for you to be able to use your abilities, you have to purchase them just like you have to purchase smokes and flashes in CSGO. All of the information that I've got for you is coming from a guy called Henry G on Twitter. He is an ex-CSGO pro player and currently a caster for it. He got to play a really early build of Project A. He said in a string of tweets that the gameplay and gun mechanics are super slick and satisfying. On the build that he played, he experienced pretty well balanced and varied hit scan weapons that had their own unique spray patterns and best methods of approach for the situation or position. Similar to CSGO, with the economy system, you could partially invest into rounds with less firepower to take a gamble on a round and enter with basic abilities or utility. You can have a great time playing without having to rely too much on the abilities to assist you in game. But there's nothing more satisfying than dropping a successful combo of movement mechanics and abilities that isolates your opponent to buy space before pulling the trigger on the killing blow. All of the classes have access to the same generic weaponry via an economy system that CSGO fans won't find too difficult to adjust to. Generally speaking, a one bullet headshot with one of the primary rifles with any class or hero wielding it will do enough damage to take down an opponent. One of the most exciting elements of the game to me was the map design. They have been beautifully created following Counter-Strike's familiar lanes and choke points, with the focus on gameplay substance rather than flowery aesthetics. To give you guys who are watching a better idea on the type of abilities that will be available to you in Project A, I'm going to show you one of the recent leaks of a character known as Sage. In this screenshot, we can see that she's got 4 different abilities. Barrier Orb, which is bound to mouse button 3, Slow Orb, that is bound to mouse button 5, Healing Orb, that is bound to mouse button 4, then finally Resurrection, that is bound to X. We're actually able to see most of these abilities being used in small snippets of gameplay that we have. The first of which is Barrier Orb, where she summons an orb that allows her to put up a barrier blocking the line of sight that the enemies have on her downed teammate. The description says that you equip Barrier Orb, then press the fire button to place a solid wall. Pressing Alt Fire is going to rotate the orientation of the wall, which sounds really similar to Mei's wall ability in Overwatch. Much like Mei's wall in Overwatch, the wall that Sage places can take damage too. As you can see in our snippet of gameplay, the enemy shoots at a panel of the wall and it breaks open. Sage's second ability is called Slow Orb. Unfortunately, we don't have any gameplay of this ability, but the description says, equip a Slow Orb, then press fire to throw a slowing orb that detonates upon landing, creating a lingering field that slows and grounds players caught inside of it. Some alpha testers of the game have spoke about a freeze ability, but it's yet to be confirmed if it is in fact this ability that they were talking about, because it seems pretty strong based on the description. It mentions being able to grind enemies, which I feel implies the ability will be able to take enemies who are in the air and then bring them to the ground in some way. So it's an ability that is able to slow enemies down and limits your opponent's ability to jump or use any abilities that might propel them into the air. So given the right circumstances, this ability could prove to be very useful. The only thing that we don't know is how important, if at all, jumping is going to be in the game. Sage's third ability is called Healing Orb. The description reads, fire a healing orb over a damaged ally to activate a heal over time on them. Using alt fire while Sage is damaged will activate a self heal over time. If we refer back to Henry G's tweets, we know that there is a one-shot headshot mechanic present in the game, so this ability might not turn out to be as overpowered as it sounds. I can see it being used by or on someone who likes to be primarily an entry fragger, pushing through the initial enemy resistance to try to get the first kill off the round. It'll be interesting to see if there is a fire-based like character in the future who can put down Molotov-like traps or utility that this ability will enable players to push through. Sage's final ability, and probably the most controversial of the bunch, is Resurrection. We've seen it in the gameplay where the Sage player puts up her barrier orb, then walks over to her downed teammate and revives them. The description says, use on a dead ally to begin resurrecting them. After a brief channel, the ally will be brought back to life with full health. So it sounds like to me that you actually have to be staring at your ally for a short duration while using the ability to revive them, otherwise it won't work. On top of that, the animation shows us that you have to put your gun away as well. Now, because of how aim-centric the game seems to be, this is actually quite a big deal because you have to make the decision on whether or not it's worth messing up your crosshair placement to revive a dead teammate. It's probably also worth reiterating at this point that these abilities have to be purchased with the same currency that you use to purchase your weapons for what we know so far, so it's not like you're going to see enemies being revived every single round. The only other character that we have footage of and know the name of is one named Viper. We've seen two of her abilities in the gameplay that we have, her first ability being a wall similar to Sage's barrier orb, the difference being enemies can walk through it, presumably taking damage when they do, and then we see her throw a grenade that I would assume is a toxic damage over time, just based off of Viper's aesthetic and name. We do have footage of an airbending-like character who honestly seems to have the coolest kit out of the three. She has a dash that allows us to dodge left or right, what seems to be a smoke grenade that we can shoot onto a given area, and then finally what seems to be a one-shot ultimate ability where we jump into the air and are able to launch kunais at the enemies. We don't know if you're able to swap between heroes mid-match at the start of every round just yet, but hopefully come March 2nd, we'll learn a little bit more about how the matches are going to pan out. If none of what I covered got you excited for the game, the technical side of things that Riot promised in their alpha reveal trailer should, so let's take a look at that.
But it's not enough to have the right team. We also need to solve the right problems. But what does that really mean? Well, we're all tired of seeing our bullets not register because of low server tick rates. We keep hearing buzzwords like dedicated servers, but almost nothing about low ping or how a game plans to fight Peeker's advantage. But with Project A, we're going big on things like global infrastructure and netcode designed to go to war on Peeker's advantage. You'll hear more technical details as we get closer to launch, but just know, we know, these are critical things to get right. Now let's talk about the cheaters. We know you hate second-guessing if you really lost, or if someone was running an aimbot or a wall hack. From day one, we have put anti-cheat at the forefront of our development, and we will do whatever it takes to preserve the integrity of your matches. We want to be firm in our commitment here, because this matters to us, and we know it really matters to you. And these are just some examples of what we mean when we say we want to do a character-based tactical shooter right. We're keeping the fundamentals that make this genre so competitive, but also bringing some new additions.
I don't know about you guys, but I've never heard a company who are developing an FPS straight out of the gate promise to tackle both cheaters and Peeker's advantage at the same time. That's going to be a pretty hard promise to keep, at least in my opinion, but if they pull it off, I believe that this game could totally be one of the best competitive shooters, if not the best out there. Rumors say that the developers are seeking to have 120 tick rate servers, which is good for overall responsiveness. When you pair the promises that developers have made with what they've shown in the alpha reveal trailer, as someone who really enjoys competitive shooters such as Siege and CSGO, I can't help but be excited for this game. The game looks so smooth for it being an alpha. They have a shooting range in the alpha footage. Do you know how many first-person shooters I've played that either did not have a shooting range where you can practice at all, or they added it in like a year after launch? The answer is way too many. Just as I was making this video, IGN accidentally leaked the new screenshots of the game. I won't include the screenshots in this video, but I will link them down below just to avoid my channel being hit by a copyright strike or something like that. On top of that, @Slasher on Twitter, an esports consultant and insider, went on record saying, "Sources tell me the Valorant press embargo will drop at midnight PST tonight, with all new information scheduled for then." So there you have it. We're going to be getting more information at midnight PST, which unfortunately I'm not able to stay awake for. You guys can expect another Project A or Valorant video from me tomorrow, going over the new information that we get whenever it drops. But if you liked this video, leave a like. If you disliked it, hit dislike. Subscribe for more Valorant content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.